Welcome back. So in the previous video, I explained what I thought were the problems with computing and the problems with file organization and the reasons that none of us can find anything anymore. And so here are the three fundamental design principles behind Johnny.Decimal and how it helps you overcome these problems. The first one is that the system is designed to limit your choices. And people push back on this, as we'll see in a future video, and they say, but I can do so much more on my computer, so I should. And I think that's completely wrong. I think that's why we're in this situation. The second thing is that Johnny.Decimal gives you a unique ID, just a short number that you can use across your entire life to reference the same thing. That turns out to be really handy for all sorts of things. And the third key thing is that it gives you an index of these numbers and an index of all of the things in your life, digital and physical, that until now you've never had before. And so these three things are the three things that bind Johnny.Decimal, that make a Johnny.Decimal system. So I'm going to run through them just quickly here, and then we'll go into more detail in the next couple of videos. So the first design constraint of Johnny.Decimal, and this is really fundamental, is that it limits your choices. It limits the places you can put things, because the problem with the computer as it stands is that you can put anything anywhere you want, and as a result you can never find anything. That is a bad idea. And so when we come into a Johnny.Decimal system, the first choice you have is to choose one of 10 of your areas of your system. And you only get 10, and in fact you should use as few as you can. Don't try and use 10, because what we're giving you, instead of coming into your computer and just thinking, well, where is it? It could be anywhere. We're going to take you through a very simple 3-step process. And the first step is picking one of these areas. So let's say in your personal life, you might have 3 areas. You've got one called life administration, and that's all of your life admin. That's you being a human, living a place, getting around, dealing with money and technology, and going out and having fun and going on holiday and all that sort of stuff. Then let's say you've got you run a small home business. So you've got another area for your home business, a different area of your life. And then let's say that you are the treasurer of the tennis club at the top of the street. And so you've got another area for the tennis club. 3 quite distinct areas. Only 3, as few as you can get away with. And so when you come to this place, that's your first choice. Which one of these 3 things is my 401k documentation in? And it's pretty clearly only in one of them. And you choose one of them, at which point you can just ignore the other 2. So we've already gone from a world where you have essentially limitless choice, and this thing could be anywhere, to 3 simple choices. So we've just made one choice from a maximum of 10 and preferably fewer. And now the next thing we do is just to make another choice with the same constraints. Within each area, you have a maximum of 10 categories. Obviously, all of those categories now relate to the area that you're in. You try and design systems with fewer categories, because fewer choices are better, fewer chances to get lost. And so in the life admin system that we've designed, the categories, we have 5 categories. We've got one for you. I think we call it you and other living things. So it's you and everything to do with other things that have a beating heart, your pets, your family, your friends. We've got one for where you live and how you get around. So your house, your mortgage, your rent, your car, your bike, your scooter, your public transport. One for everything financial related, earning, saving, owing, and spending money, taxes, all that sort of stuff. One for all of your technology, dealing with being in the real world and having tech and having passwords and all that sort of stuff. And then finally, one for travel and fun and entertainment. So if you book a concert ticket, that's where that would go. So there were 5 choices there. And if I ask you to find in this system your pension documentation, it should already be clear to you exactly where it is. It's in the finance area with all of the other finance stuff. There's only one place it can be, and there were only 5 possibilities. So we had 3 choices at the top level, and you chose your life administration over your business or that tennis club. And then within life administration, you've got 5 choices, and you chose the finance one because we're talking about finance stuff. And that's essentially it. You're now in a place, you're in a category where all of your financial stuff is. And all you've done is make 2 decisions, and now you're in this place where everything is similar, and you know you're going to find the thing you were looking for. And now finally you're in this folder, and we create what we call Johnny.Decimal IDs, which is the number of the category. I'll talk about the numbers later. Funnily enough, the numbers aren't, while they're very useful, I don't want you to think that you ever have to do maths in this system. None of this is to do with maths. The numbers are just an identifier, and they keep things in order as well. So now you've got this number, and I know the pension number is going to begin with the number 13 because that's the category for finance. The number happens to be 13.43. I looked that up in my index just before I started recording this video, because while I remember some of these numbers, I remember the category numbers because there aren't that many. You don't remember all these ID numbers, you just look them up. And there we go. This ID you can now use all over the place. And so let's talk about some of the benefits of these IDs. So the main benefit of these IDs, let's say 13.43, which is your pension, is that you now have a reference to this thing, this piece of work. And we're not, just to be clear, an ID isn't one specific document. An ID is like a class of work. It's your pension. So all of your pension documentation over all of the years is going to go into 13.43. We like to think of them like those manila folders you get. And in fact, the analogy here works really quite nicely to the real world. If you imagine a filing cabinet is the area, so you go to the area of your life, which is your life admin, that's a filing cabinet. Finance is one of the drawers, so you open the drawer, 13 for your finance. And now what you're doing is you're going through manila folders and you're finding the one to do with your pension. It's 13.43, they're just in order. The numbers there don't really mean anything. And you pick that one out, and now you are expecting, you've gone from the whole world and everything in it through these 3 simple processes, and you found the thing you're looking for, and now everything you want is in this one folder, and now you can get on with whatever it was you were trying to do. So now that you've got this ID, this is pretty cool. You can use it any way you want. So the natural place that you're imagining is that you've got some documents in your file system, which you do. It might be on your cloud drive or whatever. It's very easy using this ID to find where it is in your folder structure, because the number 13.43 explains how to get there because of the way the folders are structured, which I'll show you later. You can use this number anywhere. You might have IDs from, you might have emails, from your pension company, and you can now create a folder in your email called 13.43 pension, and you can put them all in the same place. You might use it in your to-do list, which I do. I've got a course on task and project management where I show you how to link together your index and these IDs with your task system, because why invent another system over there, right? If you have some task to do with your pension, if you've got to call them up and tell them something, change in status, that is a task in your task system and can be tagged with this number, 13.43. You can, this is one of my favorite uses. I work with Lucy, my partner, and just a minute ago, I told her that there was a photograph, the photograph of my parents that we used in the previous video, and I had put it at location 43.19 in our file system. And that's all I did. I leaned out this door and I said, hey, the photograph of my mum and dad is at 43.19. And that's it. That's all. Like, what an amazing, like, what a burst of information I've just squirted at her, if you like. It's a technical term. You squirt information in a burst. What a squirt of information is encoded in that short little thing, 43.19. And now she can just go and find that file instantly. You can write it on things. You might get some papers from your pension documentation. You might just write 43.19 in the top corner and file them. You could have an entire binder of physical papers and you could write 43.19 on the spine. This small number encodes so much information and you'll find yourself using it everywhere. It's tremendously useful. The final benefit, and this is the hero really, is your index. So you've never had a central index of all of your stuff before, and now I give you one with your JDEX, we call it, and it's basically just all of these IDs written down in a Notes app. Typically, there's a whole bunch of ways you can do this, but Notes apps are just simple and quick and free. And now when you have some information to record about your pension at 13.43, you've got a place to put it. You can write notes, notes about calling the company, the fact that you had to give them a call and update that information. You can write down the reference of that call, so if you have to call back next time, it's all there to hand. You can tell yourself that there are emails in your email just by noting that in your index. That you can tell yourself that you've got physical files. You can tell yourself where they are. You can say that physical files are in the fireproof safe under the stairs. This index now serves as the central point for your life, and so much so that when you come to find something in the future, you don't start in your file system. You don't open your Explorer or your Finder or whatever and look through your folders and your files, because the thing you're looking for might not be there. It might be in your email or it might be a physical thing. You start in your index, and your index is your central record of everything, and it tells you where to go. All right, in the next video, let's weave these concepts together, and I'll show you how I actually use them in a real-life example, tying together my files and my index and these IDs.